I'm Cece. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So throughout middle school, I always had a really hard time picking out books for myself because they would either be too hard to read, too easy to read, not age appropriate, or they just wouldn't be interesting. So I wanted to share with you guys my favorite books that I've read throughout middle school that made me like reading again. So I'm going to tell you the book name, the author. I'm going to give you a brief description of the book with no spoilers, and then I'm going to rate the book 1 through 5 stars. And obviously none of these are going to be like below 3 stars because I like all of these books. Let's start with books that I read in 6th grade, so first year of middle school. The first book that we had to read for school actually was Hunger Games. Now my mom was a little bit hesitant about letting me read that in 6th grade, but I did and I understood it really well. So a brief summary of the Hunger Games is the Hunger Games are games that are held every single year where they pick a girl and a boy from each faction. Hey guys, so I realized I said faction and I meant to say district, so I think I only said faction like 3 times, but whenever I do, just imagine district. Okay, get faction out of your head because that's for another book that I'm going to talk about. Because the world is divided up into 12 different factions and some are richer than others. So they pick a girl and a boy who have to go into an arena against all of the other factions, and basically they all fight and one person lives, and then whoever lives gets to be rich and they get all the luxuries. Throughout the first book, they follow somebody through the games and the whole process of before the games. I would recommend reading all of the books in this series. There are 3 books in the Hunger Games series. I would give this book 4 out of 5 stars because there's always a turn of events and it really keeps you hooked onto the book. The only reason I didn't give it 5 stars is because I feel like it does get a little bit repetitive towards the end of the book series, but I would still recommend reading this book. The second book series I read in 6th grade was my all-time favorite book series ever. I wish I could read it for the first time again. It's Divergent. There are 3 books in the Divergent series and they're all written by Veronica Roth. A brief description of this book is there are 4 factions that people have to live in, and once they're 16, I believe it is, they have to choose which faction they're going to be in for the rest of their lives. You're obviously born into a faction that your parents chose, and you can choose to leave them and join a completely new faction or stay in the one you have. And each faction has different goals or beliefs, and some factions are harder to get into than others. This book follows along a 16-year-old girl who shows the struggles of getting into a faction. It also shows disputes between factions. I would rate this book 5 stars, easily 5 stars. The reason I liked this book so much is because this author, I feel like, did things no other authors did in the later books. And literally this book, I could not get away from it. I would spend at least 3 to 4 hours a night reading this book. It was so good, and I really wish I could read it for the first time again. Moving on to books I read in 7th grade. In 7th grade, I started reading the Twilight series. This book series is by Stephanie Meyer. There are 6 books in the Twilight series, and the authors just came out with another one. The description of this book is a high school girl moves to a very small town with her dad and runs into a very suspicious family. She comes to learn that they are vampires. She ends up becoming friends with one of the vampires, and of course, being a human amongst vampires is a very dangerous situation. Not a situation I can personally relate to, but a dangerous situation for her. Obviously, I really like vampires because I've watched Vampire Diaries. I have another vampire book I'm about to talk about, and I love Twilight. I really liked the characters. I feel like the author did a very good job giving them each their own personality, and this book is definitely suspenseful. And at some points, I had to like put the book down and be like, you're not actually this character, you have your own life. So I would rate this 4 out of 5 stars. The only reason I wouldn't rate it 5 stars is because Divergent is 5 stars, and it's just very hard to meet that level for me. I really like this book, and I've reread the series twice, and then I watched almost all of the movies. The next book series I read in 7th grade is a series called Keeper of the Lost Cities. This book series is by Shannon Messenger. This book is about a girl who is a telepath living amongst humans, but she thought that telepathy was a normal thing, until she found out she was an elf. The girl is forced to leave her old life and go to a place that is very different from what she's used to, and that includes leaving her family. She has new rules and skills that she has to learn and live by. There are also more secrets about her that she has never realized. I would rate this book series a 3.5 out of 5. I really liked this book series. I feel like I could have read this in 6th grade. I feel like the first book and like the second book, they were really good. And I just feel like as the book series went on, it kind of lost my attention a little bit. I would really like to get back into reading this series. So I read up to book 4 and I have book 5. So I think I might start reading this one again. Now moving on to books that I read in 8th grade. I'm currently reading this Vampire Academy book series. Don't you see a theme with vampires going on? I was even Catherine Pierce for Halloween. Go check out that video. And there are 6 books in this series. Someone once described this book series to me as Mean Girls and Vampire Diaries. And I would say that's pretty accurate. I'm on the 2nd book so far and I'm almost on the 3rd book. And I started reading this at the beginning of January, so I'm definitely hooked on it. This book would be very difficult for me to summarize by myself, so I'll read bits and pieces of the summary that was given in the book. Lissa is a mortal vampire who has a rare gift of harnessing Earth's magic. Her best friend is a guardian whose blood is a powerful blend of vampire and human. Her best friend's life is dedicated to protecting her from dangerous vampires who will stop at nothing to make her one of theirs. They both escaped the academy for 2 years and were eventually dragged back to the academy, a school for vampire royalty. But inside the gates, life is even more dangerous, and dangerous vampires are always close by. I would rate this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I think this book is definitely a step up in maturity from the other books. And I really like the characters in this book. And this book has actually made me laugh in person so many times. I would just recommend this book to literally anybody. I love it so much. And the characters are just so awesome. I hope this video is helpful for you guys. This is my first time doing a book review, so I'm hoping I did okay. Some books that I'm reading now is this book called Legend and another book called Shatter Me. So if you want more book recommendations, please give this video a thumbs up so I can know. Yeah, be sure to check out some of my other videos I post every week. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!